Hello and welcome to the DayZ Zombie Survival Guide. This is the 5th part of a 13-part series addressing everything from basic survival tips to the advanced features of the Arma 2 game engine. And this week we'll be looking at assault rifles. I'll be covering each assault rifle, looking at its characteristics and comparing them between each other. If you wish to skip the first part, continue on at 6 minutes and I'll be discussing some general tactics with assault rifles and other weapons. I put together a simple test that declares 3 situations that you'll find yourself in. The first one is the hard situation. With a quick burst of fire, how many targets can you take down? Secondly, the door situation. This is where a horde of zombies is coming through a door and you need to take down as many as you can as fast as possibly. And finally, the long range shots. This is possibly for shots on other players and other people that are at a bit of range and you need to kill them fast. As you saw there, that was the AK-74. The AK-74 is a great starter weapon and you can find ammunition almost everywhere in every sort of military structure. Next up we have the EP5 with its night vision and thermal scope. As you can see, I'm using it in the day here and I'm using it against targets that are not thermally approved, so it's not making much of approval. But as you can imagine, in night conditions and against thermal targets in the day, this weapon is perfect, and with its average range you can see how it could easily take down targets both in night and day conditions. Perfect. Next up we have the holographic version of that weapon, and finally the FAL. This weapon consists of a both burst and semi-automatic fire with a 20 round magazine. As you saw there in the horde situation, it was a little slow, but since it takes down targets in one shot, that's no problem. Same in the door situation, and at long range this rifle is beautiful because you've got that one shot kill, but also you've got the accuracy. Big problem is the recoil, of course. Next up we have the FAL with the night vision sight. Once again, the night vision sight's rather bulky and it's going to obscure your view, especially when you're lying down. Of course, you'd only use this weapon if you were doing a night operation or you were coming out early in the morning to do some dawn work. Otherwise you might want to leave this at your tent or in your car and keep it on standby. Of course, you don't want to be running around with that sort of view sight in the day. Next up we have the M4 with the holographic sight and the M203 grenade launcher. I won't show the grenade launcher, but as you can see the rate of fire is extremely good. And next up we'll have a look at the accuracy. You can see the accuracy on this weapon with the holographic sight, I feel, is beautiful. The holographic sight is only on this one weapon that you can get at the current moment in time. Hopefully it'll be on some of the other M4s when they release further patches. This is the bog standard M4. As you can see, the rate of fire is spot on. And also in this situation when hostiles are coming through doors, since it has a nice accuracy at close range, you can easily take them headshots that require. Also, at longer range I feel that the M4 and M16 iron sights are a bit restrictive. They feel like you're tunneling vision and you're locked down that one view portal. Next up we have the M4 CCO, or Close Combat Optic. Basically this is a beautiful weapon with no magnification on the scope. As soon as you bring it up to eyesight it's ready to go, and with that circle around that red dot I feel it's not as restrictive, and if I was going to carry an M4, I currently carry an AK, I'd rather have a CCO or a combat optic. Next up we've got the A3 version of the M4. The rate of fire is slightly higher, and also you'll notice that the damage is a little bit more, but it still does the 2 shots to the body and 1 to the head function. The camouflage also adds, even though it's in the desert camouflage, wrong for the environment. Next up we have the M16A2. This has a burst and semi-auto function. It's very accurate at very long ranges and it allows you to take them headshots at them conditions, but the only problem is the body shot still requires 2. At long range here you can see that the accuracy is spot on. I barely need to re-aim, just a quick correction and I'm back on the target. Next up we have the M16A2 with grenade launcher. Obviously the problem with this weapon is the iron sights. You have so much going on in this department that it's very hard and you can't even really see where the actual iron sight to aim is. If you had to bring this up in an engagement you might have a little situation, and due to HE grenades being so rare, I may advise you just to carry an M16 standard rather than risk missing a target. Next up we have the M16A4 with the ACOG sight. The ACOG sight is spot on for engaging targets up to 800 meters, and the rate of fire is rather fast. As long as you keep that clicking motion coming, or you separate it onto burst mode and you go rapid on the target, it's beautiful. Especially at long range you can land a nice 3 round burst on a target at probably about 500 meters without much spread. Next up we have one of my favourite weapons, that is the AKS-74U. It's very compact. When you're clearing a building, this is exactly what you need. Or when you're holding a doorway and you're waiting for the zombies to come in. Obviously, when you're holding the doorway with these sort of weapons, you want to keep a look on your ammo count and make sure that no one's coming up from behind you, and always have an exit point. Obviously, at long range it suffers a little bit and the recoil starts to show a little bit more there. The AKM is my second favourite weapon in this game, mainly due to its 30 round clip, and it takes people down with one shot to the body. The only problem is it's much louder than the AK-74, so it attracts a lot more attention to you that you don't necessarily need. But the one shot kill does make up for this. You only need to catch the target to put him down. And finally, let's have a look at the AK-74 with the Cobra Sight. It shares most of the same statistics with the standard AK-74, but the Cobra Sight allows you to bring it to the eye very quickly and take out them targets a lot faster than you could with the iron sights that give a very flat vertical horizon that prevents you from hitting the target straight away. With the assault rifles out the way, let's have a look how you can zero your weapon. This is a feature that's only on some of the weapons and it's displayed in the top right hand corner. All you need to do to zero the weapon is aim down the sights and use page up and page down. Say a target is at 500 meters, if you zero the weapon to exactly 500 meters, it'll hit the target at the square point of the iron sight. For instance, if you aim at a target that's a little further at 600 or 700 meters, you'll miss. The next and the final factor that we're going to look at is taking the shot. Taking the shot consists of 4 factors. The first thing is shooting, but before you shoot you need to take a lot of things into consideration. The first thing is your weapon. If you take a shot in a certain situation with the wrong weapon, you could only bring more trouble. For this instance, I had to take the shot because my friend was about to get eaten, and I took into consideration before I shot the weapon, I was using an M9, so it's rather quiet, it shouldn't attract the whole town that I'm in. The other factors that you need to take into consideration are whereabouts you are, what you're looking at, the weapon you're carrying, and how you're going to deal with the situation if it does develop. The most important aspect is covering your shots. When you're firing, always try to fire from a concealed position. As you can see here, if I was shooting at this position and someone heard this from a distance away, they wouldn't be able to track the muzzle flash, or they wouldn't be able to track the direction. Use buildings and other objects to deflect the sound waves. It does work. You may think Arma 2 doesn't work in these sort of ways. Yes, it does. Valleys and other areas will affect the sound of the bullet. It's all up to you how you develop this and take it on using your own situations. That brings an end to this episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.